Here's the real reasons why you probably can't habituate yet. Make sure to watch this entire video because I'm going to go over a lot of important things that, if you haven't habituated yet, might be keeping you from habituating. Here's what you have to understand, is that habituation is a natural thing that everyone's brain already does. So habituation is something that, if you weren't stopping, would just naturally happen. The problem is that thought loops are so strong for people that it's like they happen automatically. And it's like people have been thinking a certain way and responding a certain way for so long that it seems like it's automatic. It's not. They have a choice. They just haven't practiced using it. So that muscle of observing your thoughts and not getting tangled up in them, that muscle it's like it doesn't exist because they haven't practiced it. And I'm going to paint you a picture of kind of how this plays out in people's minds. They're driving down the road, someone cuts them off, and they just immediately get triggered. And then they think back later, maybe they will, maybe if they have self-awareness, they'll think back and they might think, why did that happen? Like, I don't feel good about that. Like that was a compulsion. Like, I wished I could have been better in that situation. Or someone might bruise their ego and they might snap and say something, or cuss someone out or say something they didn't like, or, and there's a million situations in which that can happen. But someone, if they have self-awareness, they'll look at that in themselves and be like, I wish that wouldn't have happened. And if they're really inquisitive, they'll be like, well, why is that happening? What mechanism is going on there that is kind of overriding my self-control, my inability to stop myself? And if you can understand that, we're going to unpack that, you can understand why you don't habituate. So basically, what is happening is most people, unless you're like a monk, unless you've done a lot of spiritual work and inner work, you're probably living life on autopilot. What I mean by that is you're going through the motions, you're saying the right things, you know what to say, you know how to play the game, you go to your work, you're a different person at your work, but who you are, the mask of having your shit together and being reserved and having it all figured out, like that's just a mask. Nobody has it all figured out. Like everyone's afraid of dying, everyone has insecurities, everyone has shame about shit they could have done better. That's the truth. But we take the masks at face value, meaning when someone appears to be confident and together and have it all figured out, we believe them. It's, oh, that person has it figured out, but I don't. Here's the thing. No one has it figured out. Everyone's faking it. Everyone's pretending. That's the truth, right? And so when you go through life wearing the mask, society rewards personas. Society rewards people who fake it, right? Fake it till you make it. And it heavily punishes people who are real. So if you take the mask off and you're like, I'm not going to play anymore, I'm done pretending, you threaten the illusion, right? You threaten the so-called matrix. And someone else that's faking it, they don't want you to, they don't want you to shine a flashlight and be like, oh, you're wearing a mask, right? You're not really real. But here's the truth in everything that I'm saying, is that when you can see that the mask gets poked at, it's very fragile. That's why you get triggered in traffic. That's why you might snap and cuss someone out, because someone bruised your ego. Someone inconvenienced you. Somebody did something you didn't like, and now you're so offended and you're so angry, right? And it happens automatically because you've lived that way for so long and you've worn the mask so much that you believe it's really you. It's your real identity. It's not. But this mask, what it comprises of is it's a bunch of thoughts and opinions and judgments and likes and dislikes, and it's a bunch of labels, and it just loops all the time. It's like I have this name, I was born this time, I'm this person, I'm that, me, this, I like that, I don't like this, blah blah blah. That's everyone, and then people believe that that's really themselves. And when you go through life and you don't question it, you don't learn to question that, you just believe whatever it says. So if it says that you're never going to habituate, and habituation isn't real, and this YouTuber, he doesn't know what he's talking about, and there's no cure to tinnitus. Just as you didn't question when someone cut you off in traffic or when someone bruised your ego, you don't question that either. And because you don't question that, you don't learn how to challenge your negative thoughts, or I call them unrealistic thoughts, because we want realistic. If realistic is what we perceive to be as negative, I'd rather the truth. But see, a human mind isn't designed for truth, it's designed for survival. So a human would rather survival over truth. We say we want truth. You ask any single person, every single person watching this, I would say, do you want the truth? They would say, yeah. Well, unfortunately, your brain doesn't want you to have the truth. It would rather you have survival. And so people would rather stay in these unrealistic thoughts about tinnitus than have to confront their own thoughts and their own mask. And that's a lot of times what keeps people from habituating is to question your thoughts, even if it's your negative thoughts about tinnitus, is very difficult for people to do, because it means that you have to question the thought that's telling you to get pissed off. Someone offended you. Should you be that easily offended? Really, what happened? Oh, they called you out? Sounds like you're not perfect. Sounds like maybe they have a point. I don't know. But do you see what I'm saying? Is that when you can begin to question your thoughts and observe them and be like, is that thought real? Like, is it really something I should believe in? This takes practice, but over time there begins to form a space in between the real you, the awareness, and your thought. And the more you practice it, the wider this space gets, where a thought can appear. You're going to be stuck like tinnitus forever, panic, freak out, and you can just see it, and then you just know it's going to pass. And then another thought will appear. You can't live like this, life sucks, blah, blah, blah. And then that thought, that thought's going to pass too as well. And that's what happens when you get really good at practicing not getting caught up in your thoughts. It is very difficult to do. And like I said, a lot of these thought loops are automatic. They're ingrained. People have lived like this for like 40 years. So it feels automatic. When your brain tells you you're hopeless with tinnitus, you're not going to habituate, blah, 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 you believe it because you've believed and you've gone along with the story that you are your thoughts. But you're not your thoughts. You're the observer of your thoughts. And so when you can, and this is where it gets good, because when you can begin to put space in between you and your thoughts, in between you and your suffering, you and your experience, your mind begins to pull away attention from the things that you've been giving attention, right? That which you resist shall persist. Basically, when you can observe these thoughts come into your awareness and leave, eventually they never come back. They become so quiet that they're not really there. And if you don't have a thought telling you to freak out about tinnitus, telling you to listen to it, telling you to search for it, focus on it, if those thoughts are gone, then you're in silence, because you're never going to notice it. Your brain's going to be, right now I hear the waves, I hear the wind. Nowhere in my awareness is tinnitus, because there's no thoughts that are telling me to think about it. It's telling me to freak out about it. And that's one of the biggest reasons, I think, that is the reason why people don't habituate, is that they've never learned to question their thoughts. They think that they are their thoughts. They think that's what a human is. That's who I am. I'm just this thought loop. But that's not even who you are. You can't even find the originator of the thought loop. Try to find the I that's doing the thinking. You can't find it. When you realize that, the whole charade falls apart, and you realize, oh my God, I am the awareness that's always been observing my thoughts. Like, I can use these thoughts. They can be helpful. A thought can tell me that a storm might be coming and I should probably go indoors. That's a useful thought. I can use that thought. But then if a thought tells me an irrational thought, like, oh, I'm going to suffer with this benign sound for the rest of my life, I can say, well, I don't have to use that thought, and I can just disregard it. So that's really I think the beginning to a lot of to tinnitus suffering, and a lot of deep suffering is learning to put that space in between you and your thoughts. So anyway, I hope this helps. If you want to practice working with me and I can help you return to your silence. Again, we can help you return to silence, and I can listen to your story and be that mentor, that person that can understand what you're going through. hit the link below, book a 60-minute session. I would love to work with you. Make sure to smash the subscribe button and share this video. It helps the algorithm and it helps to get these videos to people who may be suffering with tinnitus. Until next time, talk to you later. Peace.